leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. Ayatollah Khamenei is dead. Ayatollah Khamenei is dead. Iran's former supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. Iran's former supreme leader.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. Let's see who's in chat. Of course, we got Kirby Tex. Good morning, sir. Who else we got here? P.S. Bailey, how you doing? Looks like we got the great state of Texas representing this morning as well. Lots going on today. Everybody was afraid. Everybody was afraid of oil. And I think that is calming down a little bit. You can see we've got just some crazy surges here. Everybody's talking about like, oh, why aren't you getting into oil now? I'm not getting into oil now because the time to get into oil was when everybody was talking about silver and gold right about here. Early January, maybe. Again, silver and gold have went sideways for 3 months now. And I know everybody, all the silver bugs and the gold bugs will tell you that this thing is going to go so much higher. So much higher. These things are just going to keep going up. Down 31% from its high. What was the high? It was January 26th, or somewhere around that time. This is the weekly. It was probably a little bit earlier. I don't think it's going to go up a lot more. This actually looks like a fucking horrendous pattern. This clearly looks like a reversal pattern, almost diamond-shaped, but with a massive, massive wick. Silver is not going up anytime soon. So the metals guys, you probably, again, metals, you should have been doing that a long time ago. And if you would have got in, you would have made a bunch of money. Congratulations. Oil, you could have done that not so long ago. You could have done that on January, just like 6 weeks ago, and you could have made a hefty sum of 100% gains if you got the timing really, really good. But, yeah, I mean, you'd have to sell it overnight, though. But, yeah, oil isn't going to go crazy. We're going to talk about that in more detail. We got a lot of things to look at. We got good morning from Florida. Says History Guys scalps, UGA, and VIX calls have been a great hedge. That's awesome. I'm glad you had one. I did not. I'm just writing it out. Looking at the VIX, too, I actually expect this to probably get crushed today, too. Don't get me wrong. We could go a little bit higher, but if we just look at some of the time frames here. Let's see. When was this? March 3rd, 2025. What was over here? July of 2024. See, look, these are usually very brief, and they don't last long. And let's see, what do we got over here? March of 2020. So all these sound kind of familiar. I think, I don't know about this VIX. I don't know. That doesn't really line up so much with the Silicon Valley thing, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, the VIX, I think, is going to get crushed. The MOVE index, the bond volatility version of that, actually hasn't changed much. It did an overshoot, drop down, pop back up. I don't know. Bonds are not doing great while we still have war, so that is not working as an active hedge for me. But if you look in the bottom right corner, oh, I don't even know if I have it here. Let me make sure I got it here. I got that. I don't have my stock. One sec here. Let me get Bitcoin up and running in the bottom corner. Sorry, I wasn't feeling very good today, so I'm like running. I'm lagging a little bit. Let me see. I probably need to shrink this up. We need to push this up a little bit. You can see where Bitcoin is still hanging on to support. 67, 69. I mean, this entire area is support going back years where we had the last cycle top. So it's going to continue to linger here until it starts going up, but I think that's pretty soon. Anyway, let me get over. I'll get off of oil. We'll actually get into talking about some of the subject matter of today. Real quickly, let's take a gander. We'll see how Trueflation is doing. It says U.S. inflation rate is 0.98%. Still liking that number. Fear and greed. Let's see here. Is it really 8? Is it really 8? Fear and greed on crypto, 8, according to the oldest source. It looks like coin market cap is still an extreme fear, but it's at a 19. And then CNN stock fear and greed index is right at the edge of extreme fear. So these are still pretty good places to bounce. And if we look at the timeline over here of the fear and greed index, you can see how we've just really been down here nonstop. I don't even know. Let me go over here real quick. We'll look at this macro site here that I love so much. Oh, nope, I'm not logged in. Well, let me see. Maybe I can still get to it. Fear and greed. I don't know how much they give away for free. I don't have it right in front of me, so I won't mess with it. I don't want to have to try and find it and log in and do all this other stuff. So we will skip it. We will move on. But yeah, I'll say this: we're not going to be getting a rate. I've heard people this weekend talk about $150 to $200 oil. That's not happening, and we'll go through a bunch of slides talking about why that is. I've also heard people, on top of that, just talk about how we're looking at potentially raising rates in the future, in the not too distant future, maybe in April. That's not going to happen either. This is long going to be gone before that. Let me see if I can refresh here real quick. This is going to be gone well before that, and it won't really matter. Let's see, March, again, no rate cut, not a shocker. Sitting at 350 to 375, which is the current range. Let's look at April, and it's 85% still for leave it the same, and it's actually 15% for dropping it lower. I don't see that changing anytime soon, so ignore a lot of what you're hearing. Now, I do want to talk about what's important, I think. History Guy Scalp says, Jesse, news thus morning sounds a bit escalatory. Rumors of Russian... Oh, it's not remotely. Russia, I think Pete Hegseth and Trump over this last weekend have responded numerous times about Russia's involvement with it. Nobody cares at all. They actually mocked it, and they said, well, if they're providing intel to Iran, it really isn't helping. And we'll look at stuff like that in a second. We'll look at why it just none of it matters. Even in the week, by the end of this week, guys, Iran is going to be a boring topic, in my opinion. I ain't scared. Yes, Kirby, that's exactly right. All right, so I wanted to cover this real quick. I said in this post, I said, if you would have told me that Trump would have done all of this in a little over a year, I wouldn't have believed you. And I'm saying this as somebody who hated Trump, somebody who voted for Obama twice, somebody who voted for Biden. Objectively, looking back through history, this is one of the most amazing presidencies I've ever seen. And I love history when it comes to geopolitics and what's happened in the United States and around the world. And I mean, just, again, tariffing the world and making them give us better deals while building here and creating, again, the incentives to align with that is awesome, and that is kicking in now. We're already starting to see the good stuff happen, and it's going to build up into Q1 and Q2. Again, not all the data looks great, but GDP is great. Jobs are fine. People aren't losing them en masse, and we're seeing an economy that's getting ready to grow a lot. Even with this little hiccup in oil, it doesn't matter if we're winning and nobody's dying. We're not fighting wars anymore where we have boots on the ground and we're occupying countries for fucking years, if not a decade, and then doing nothing to rebuild them, not having a lot in common with the societies because the majority of the people there celebrate a completely different religion and beliefs than we do. We're not doing that stupid shit anymore. I don't know how to get people to understand this. If we go in, we're going in and we're getting shit done. We got to talk about Cuba too today, guys. So much going on there. We got a lot to talk about. But again, tariffing the world and winning. No inflation, despite almost all the experts saying that it was going to be inflationary death spiral for America. None of that fucking happened. Less than 1% inflation right now. Passing no tax and tip Social Security overtime. Again, it's great. Some of those things are kicking in. We're seeing people getting their checks here soon. That's going to look good in the data that's coming up shortly. Closing the border completely in a little over a month, reducing the size of government by the largest amount ever, bringing us back to numbers we haven't seen since the 1950s. Yes, our federal government is the same size as it was in the 1950s. Creating initiatives to track down and eliminate fraud in this country that are still ongoing and accelerating. And by that, I mean Scott Besson has literally spun up a Doge fraud group for every state in the country and they're trying to identify more of what they found in Minnesota. This is a good thing for America. I'm sorry. Working to make crime punishable again. Again, we're trying to make it to where radical federal judges can't just oppose everything, and that the judicial system is better than what it has been, especially in the lower courts. And we're making headway on it. It's not quick and easy. It's only been a year. Almost 3 million people being deported or self-deporting. Again, maybe that number's 2. I really don't give a shit. If 10% of the flows that have come in the last decade are leaving, that's pretty good for the first year. Weakening Cuba to where it looks set to collapse or come under U.S. control. I think that could happen by April, sometime in April. Working with Mexico to wipe out their drug cartel leaders. Again, we're not just doing this in Mexico. We're doing this now in all of Central and South America. We've created Shield America, and we've let them know we will help them wipe these guys out. We want them to have control of their countries again. We want to all prosper together. That's a really great message for the entire Western Hemisphere. Got the alliance in here for the Western Hemisphere. Again, this is also meant to hurt Chinese and Russian influence. Fentanyl deaths dropping by 67%, homicides dropped by 21%, attacked Iran and wiped out over 90% of their military capacity in a week. You're already hearing less and less about bombings in the last 24 hours. Having China do nothing to stop us because they can't. And I just said here, I took a jab at this, like these people, the Tucker Carlson, Real Candace, like whether they're hardcore lefty liberal nut jobs or the hardcore right conservative nut jobs. They all seem to be ignoring this. They're acting like Trump is, especially on the right, like he's controlled by other people and not being America first. But the things we just talked about in this list are very America first. And they're things that have to be done. And I get that a lot of people don't like to do things that are hard, but it's really important that we do. And that's what's happening. Also, economic data today, real quick. I don't think there's a lot on the calendar. We'll just go back here. It's going to be a pretty light day. Consumer inflation expectations. It says March 9th at 3 p.m. I don't even know if that's the accurate time. But again, I think that's just going to drift over into tomorrow. Tomorrow we have the optimism index. We have the ADP employment changes, existing home sales. Those are going to be kind of interesting. But the data, as usual, usually doesn't kick off until Wednesday to Friday. So we don't have too much going on that front either. Real quick here. And we will check Fundstrat in a second and just see, actually maybe I'll just do that real quick now and just see if we have any new analysis from the team. Let's see, they got quarterly earnings. I don't know if, I don't see a lot anymore. Oh, I don't have, I'm not logged in. So I'd have to log in for that. So I'll do that in a second. But I'm not seeing a lot from Tom Lee. He's being smart and being very quiet as of late. I wanted to talk about this because I think it's important to understand China. People talk about China all the time. They talk about how amazing China is, how China is so much better than the United States. This is an example of tofu drag building, and these buildings are representative of everything that goes on throughout Chinese society. The Chinese make fraud. They take fraud to a new game. The levels of corruption throughout the CCP are astronomical, and that Chinese society actually, if you can get one over on other people, that's like a win because they have no morality. There's no moral code. And I'm not saying that the people are doing that. They just aren't allowed to be religious. And the biggest thing is money and power. And they've been like capitalism on crack, which is ironic because they're a communist country that's not supposed to care about any of that. But they screw people all the time. Look at this building. Look at the roof on this building. This is a high building. This is a huge building. And you can step through the tiles on it. You can break apart with your hands the concrete. You can snap rebar because it's all fake. Look at these beams right here. You can it's sand. It's literally built on a house of sand. And this is like just common throughout Chinese society. There was an earthquake, I forget, I want to say it was like in some part of Malaysia or somewhere, but there was one building that was built by Chinese contractors. It was like the only thing that collapsed out of all of these. It's just like, this is the kind of stuff that gets made. So I want to point that out because I think a lot of people have for years have been concerned about just how powerful China is, not wanted to go up against them. I think this president has done a really good job showing that we can do that. We can go up against China, and they haven't responded at all. Maybe it's because their military looks a lot like this. AJ, even a 5-year student understands this. When conflicts hit the Strait of Hormuz, markets react first. Oil spikes, panic headlines follow, but like every geopolitical shock before it, markets stabilize once the situation becomes clear. Short-term volatility is not the same as long-term reality. What's actually remarkable here is leadership. After President Trump, I struggle to think of another modern U.S. president who will be willing to directly confront the Iranian regime and its nuclear ambitions. Nobody. And certainly nobody has said, we will continue to do this and we'll make this happen and we're going to win. And we're not going to tell you that we're only going to go out 4 weeks or that we're not going to put boots on the ground or that we're not going to do this. We're going to do whatever it takes to fucking win. And that's it. We're not letting the enemy know our weaknesses. We're not telegraphing things so that we lose. We're just going to win. And you'll see that happening. And that is what's happening. Also, there's a little island called Karg Island. It is where 90% of the oil gets processed and sent through coming out of Iran. We're going to probably take control of that island. We're not going to do it we're not going to blow up its infrastructure. It's actually intact and we want to keep it that way. But we want to have control over it. It's a massive strangle point for Iran. They don't want to destroy this island. It's the only way they survive. And so they have a shared incentive not to let it get destroyed. And I think that's an amazing thing that people aren't taking into account, but they should. Again, I just marked it right here where you should have bought oil when it was getting ready to break out. Did I do it? No. So I can't attest to being a winner on that. I sucked on metals. I sucked on this. I was focused on crypto last year. I've made mistakes recently, but my macro has been tight as shit. And I told you that Venezuela was going to crack really quickly and we'd win way faster than people thought. I then told you, too, that Cuba is probably going to be next and Iran as well, and then Russia. And so far, all of this is playing out. And we'll look at Cuba in a little bit here. But again, I do have to agree with Chris Patel here. People aren't appreciating the fact that the Strait of Hormuz already has traffic flowing through it. And that they're just doing that by turning off their transponders. And then some of them are getting military escorts. And we're going to hear a lot about that this week. I have no doubt. Also, it looks like we got Gary Gensler talking on CNBC. I don't know if there's anything interesting. It's just regulation stuff. I put just a quick reminder the U.S.'s position in oil and natural gas. Higher prices benefit U.S. producers. Not that we're going to allow them to stay that way for long. USA now produces more oil than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. Do people not know this? This doesn't even include the extra 1.1 million barrels with Venezuela. And that's heavy crude, which we needed more of, that could be redirected us in a heartbeat. We're still letting some of that go to China, but we could turn that off in a heartbeat. And now we have a choke point in the Strait of Hormuz. People think that Iran controls that. How does Iran control it? They have no navy. They have no air force. Their military is being destroyed. Their intelligence agencies are being destroyed. Their police stations are being destroyed. All of their drone factories are being destroyed. The suppliers that supply for the drone factories are being destroyed. They have nothing. They have nothing. They're falling apart. Their curve of attacks is plummeting. You'll barely even hear about them this week. And we have all the fucking oil and gas. Who's winning this war? It's us. So when people tell you, oh my God, look, America's dying, blah, 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 just come to the realization that oil is not $150 to $300 right now. It's $102. It has seen the largest intraday drop in fucking history. And Trump told you that oil prices might spike, but they will be going down again very soon. By the end of this week, things are going to look totally different. I told you guys what was going to happen with Venezuela. I told you that Cuba is getting ready to crack. We'll look at that a second. And I told you that Iran would be insanely fast. I also told you that we were going to bomb their nuclear facilities. Nobody believed me back when I said that. They also didn't believe me when everybody thought that Israel attacking Iran over this last summer was going to be the end of the world. And I said, no, it's not. It's not. This channel is the only place I can listen to truth. Thank you, Victor. I appreciate that, man. You also said BTC holds pretty good. Hey, let me know, guys, what MicroStrategy ended up buying. I'm imagining STRC got tapped like crazy. So let me know. I put just a friendly reminder, things are already getting better in the Middle East, not worse. It's been a little over a fucking week. Stay calm and carry on. And what am I talking about here? This. And we were a little high here. We were like 40, but then we were like 25. These are Iran launch capability trends. And this isn't including drones. That's a different one, but whatever. It's all following the same trend line. They have nothing left. This is a 2-week war. And to all of the military experts that said that this is going to be like a quagmire and we're going to be bogged down on this and it's going to be the end of the fucking world. No, it's not. It's not. Quit being doomers and retarded. Emergency oil reserves. Why am I talking about this? Because this came as an article this morning. This is why markets are doing better. This is why BMNR is actually up 0.32% and DFDV is up 0.83% and CleanSpark's down 1 and Cypher's down 0.89 and Tesla's down 1.9 and MicroStrategy's down 0.6. It's because things aren't that bad. And why aren't they that bad? Because there's a Financial Times article that indicates that the G7 countries, along with the U.S., of course, we will not give the U.S. credit for trying to push for this, are going to open up oil reserves. And there happen to be 1.2 billion barrels that are available. U.S. officials believe a joint release in the range of 300 to 400 million barrels is appropriate. So yes, our reserves are low, but we also produce the most oil on the fucking planet. So by far. And we're going to be doing more because we're going to control Iran and Venezuela now too. Yeah, so it's all going to be fine. It's all going to be fine. Oh, God, I'm so pissed. Are you pissed? I'm sorry. What happened? And don't forget that I'm from Spain. Yeah, dude, your president's such a dipshit. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Yeah, well, hopefully he disappears here soon. This is the reserves by country. I'm sure Japan has an incentive to help out the United States. Between the two of us, we're doing pretty good. So again, I just want you guys to realize this whole oil thing is not a big deal. It's not. People are lying to you. Or they're just stupid. A lot of stupid people. A lot of stupid fin-twit people. All right. A drone manufacturing facility in Isfahan, Iran, was targeted in a coordinated U.S.-Israeli attack. Key military sites were targeted. Look at this. This is so crazy. Like we're doing this everywhere. And again, I think it's going to be a lot shorter of a war than people realize. Hey, thank you, Leavenworth Blake. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. The U.S. Air Force destroyed an optical factory. This is one of the factories. So again, when you lose the suppliers all the way down the supply chain that build your weapon systems, you can't fight a war anymore. These just don't come back with magic. 1,000 and 2,000 pound bombs do something. They do something. I don't know if I need to show you guys a bunch of explosions, but they do something. Also, I don't think this is a narrative people understand. Peter said Trump's winning in the polls, but without clean elections, it won't matter. Yeah, we need the Save America Act. Trump has said that he will not pass any legislation this entire fucking year if they don't pass the Save Act, the Save America Act. That's going to happen. A left-wing NBC poll just dropped, finding the American people trust Republicans more on the issue of immigration by 12 points, crime by 22, border security by 27. This is a better way of structuring a poll. You want to see this. You don't want to see how much it's went up and down. You don't care about that month over month. You care about who do people trust the most, and it's immigration for Republicans, it's crime for Republicans, and it's border security for Republicans, and soon it's going to be the economy for Republicans, and geopolitics it's going to be for Republicans, and it's not going to be because the fucking Republicans in Congress and the Senate, the Senate and the House are doing a great job. It's not for that reason. They actually fucking suck. John Thune, you're a piece of shit. you will be removed from office. I think there's plenty of people in South Dakota that are going to make sure of that. But it's because of him. And I don't say this as somebody who looks at this guy as a god. I think he thinks that God anointed him to save America because he literally got shot in the fucking ear and didn't have his brains explode. I genuinely believe he thinks that way. And we have video recordings that go back to the 80s that show that this man is doing what he believed he should do back then as a nobody. And so I just think he's killing it. I just think he's killing it, and that's me being objective. I've been on all sides of this. If we have any Hims shareholders here, grab some popcorn. Yeah, I heard what is it? Hims and Novo are best buds again. That's going to be interesting. What is that thing up? I saw 32% last week. Crude oil is flowing. My original post now confirmed by the Financial Times. So this is from the Financial Times, and it shows oil tanker braves a war zone. This is going to be happening with all of them. We're going to provide insurance. We might even take over that market. I'm sorry to Lloyd's of London. Maybe you made mistakes. Maybe turning off the insurance was not a good idea, and maybe you should have talked to America first. I don't know if people know this anymore, but the Brits don't really have a big navy. And the people that have made the seas safe for commerce since World War II are right fucking here. So anyway, they turn off their transponder. They turn it back on when they've crossed. That's how it works. And tons of them are doing that. Yeah, the numbers I hear for oil. I had people in my feed talking about $300 fucking oil. I just don't know how retarded you have to be to believe that. Whatever estimate you're getting is just insane. And Chris Patel has done a good job on this, so I want to point out some of his posts. He said, at some point, people need to stop with this. I don't see dots moving. That means it's closed. The strait's closed because dots don't move. It's like nobody does any research. If you don't even do the research for this, why even comment? If you don't know anything about shipping, if you don't know anything about how the Navy operates in warlike scenarios, if you haven't even searched to find out anything about those topics, why even fucking post shit? He put, instead, focus on each ship going from one side of the strait to the other. Those dots are AIS, Automatic Identification System, transponder signals sent out by ships to determine location. They're also a massive vulnerability since it clues Iranian attack forces where to pinpoint their attacks and who's moving. So what do? They turn that shit off, and the U.S. Navy and others will help American ships through the fucking strait. They also have a massive incentive to allow every ship, which is, 90% of their fucking exports, to go out to China. So they're not going to bomb Chinese ships, which are the most impacted by what's happening in Iran. And then the United States can ensure passage for the others, but it doesn't even fucking matter because we produce all the oil. I don't know why people care about this subject so much, but it's laughable. It really is. Israel, a friend of ours, I don't know if people realize this, they're friendly people. Do people also know that Israelis are like black to white and every fucking color spectrum in between because they make up a bunch of marginalized minorities throughout the Middle East and they represent Muslims, fucking Christians, Arabs, everybody, Druids, everybody. There's everybody that live in fucking Israel. Do people know this? I don't know why some people hate the Jews when it's like the Jews are fighting back the shit that we have to worry about here. I just don't understand it. I don't feel that way, obviously. But I also try to learn history and understand what the fuck I'm talking about. Israel taking down Hezbollah finance buildings at Lebanon. The Lebanese president has said that Hezbollah has to go and they're attacking these guys while Israel is killing them all. And there's regions of Lebanon where Hezbollah kind of reigns, and that's what they're going after. And this is one of their buildings. Not a good day for them. I put, hopefully the IRGC has a good FMLA program. Why did I put that? Well, we're not being very nice to Basiji militia and the police that are oppressive towards their people. And that's ending in bad days for a lot of these people. In Venezuela, we have more political prisoners being released. Virtually all political prisoners that are like literally not blowing people up kind of political prisoners are now free in Venezuela as our relationship continues to grow and flourish with a fucking country that we were blockading 2 months ago and now have diplomatic relations with. Cuba. Cuba's negotiating a deal with U.S. Trump. Yes, they are. Because they're desperate. Because there's people rioting. And they're tired of it. They're tired of no energy and no food. They're tired of sitting in the fucking dark. This is Cuba. So if they don't make agreements soon, they're going to die. So yeah, I think they're going to make an agreement soon. Let me look over here. Excuse me. It's up 50% on HIMS now. Jeez. See, isn't it funny? You jump out of something and then it ends up doing all right. And it kind of makes sense to see those guys partnering up. Victor said, ha ha ha, I love our Jesse Market Open. Thanks, man. I'm not super prepared today. I actually was not feeling well, but I wanted to be here because I know a lot of people were scared over the weekend. Do I have a target for RCAT? We can look at it super quick. So that's Red Cat. That's one of my defense stocks. And I will have my portfolio updated today, guys. I'm reworking things. I'm not going to put up my portfolio balances. I'm down like almost fucking 60% from the high. I'm embarrassed by it. Last year sucked, and it's an attack point for people to go after me, and I'm not going to let them have it. So subscribers only now for my portfolio allocations. I'm doing them weekly. I will do it every week because I'm doing most of my trading now in SoFi. It just makes it so much fucking easier. Nothing else really changes outside of the prices, and those are easier to gather. So I'm going to be doing weekly updates, which will be way better. I've sucked ass like every 4 to 6 weeks. I think maybe even 7 weeks has been the longest that I've updated my portfolio, and it just looks completely different over that time. So we're going to fix that. Subs will get that stuff updated every week, probably Saturday, Sunday, every week, a lot quicker. And I'll probably be shorter in writing it up because it makes it harder to write it up. I'm just going to, you guys will see it. You'll have the historical of it. It'll be nice and clean. Red Cat's up another 5.47%. It's sitting above this fib line right here. I don't love right now how quickly this war is going. I don't love it. I do own a decent amount of defense. I might start selling some today. And here's the thing. It's kind of a weird thing. Long term, I think this could be great. It's not even a $2 billion market cap. I mean, it's like, and it could just keep going up. I see a lot of drones in the future. And, but here's what I don't like. If you look at the weekly, look at this volume candle. It is so much bigger than the rest of them. I do not love that. I don't love that we're seeing so many people jumping into defense stocks. I don't love that we saw so many people in metals. I don't love that everybody's all of a sudden now in oil. I think everybody is chasing right now because things haven't worked out. And even some like the people who were doing so good before, like Amit is great. He's not only become friends with Vlad Tenev and with Robinhood and Alex Karp with Palantir, but he picked 2 amazing companies to support that rocketed to all-time highs. And let's just see how they're doing right now. Again, and I'm not shitting on him. They're great fucking companies. But even poor Amit looks a little beat up lately. With Hood was down 55%. Again, I've been a buyer the whole time. It's still down over 51 fucking percent. And then I don't remember what Palantir's at. Let me just take a look. It's probably down like by a third. That one's actually started to do better. Oh no, maybe it's less now. It's actually done really good. It bounced hard off the 127 range. So yeah, it's up to 157. But I mean, this thing again was 210. So even it's been hit. And I think people are just getting in the chase mood. Luckily, Palantir, even though, guys, I got to say, its PE ratio is fucking ridiculous. I still love the company. A PE of 241, though, is just rich. So I think, I still don't think Palantir is a really great buy right now. I'm thinking defense is a little heavy. I might be selling some today and buying some of my favorite shit. Honestly, if I'm being honest. Not that I'm not going to keep it. Can you look at Redwire? I could probably do that in a second too. I don't want to get too distracted though. Why are the ships not moving? They are moving. We'll talk about that more. They are moving because the insurance. Oh yeah, no, okay. You're reiterating some of what I've talked about. Maybe you came in later. Won't insure the shipments mainly because so they won't insure the shipments, but we've already said we will, and we are already working on that, and I think that process is already in place this week. And then at the same time, we're saying that we will militarily support the ships. And then, like I said, China has a massive incentive on Iran right now to have them push their oil through to them. And 90% of their oil transports are going to them. They're just doing it via the black market where it's not easily visible. So, but it's true, right? So you just need to realize that. And again, that's why oil dropped so hard. Everybody who bought over the weekend thinking that they're getting a good deal, damn. Real quick, Peter talking about the strategic oil reserve. I do just want to remind people that Biden, for no fucking reason whatsoever, started tapping the oil reserve for the United States of America. And then all of a sudden, we've got Chuck Schumer and other Democrats now, as we've been trying to rebuild this oil reserve under Trump's presidency. And really, I can't say that. It started, if I'm being honest, well, you can't quite see it now, but the bottom was in 2022. And then we started going higher after that. So it really did start to get rebuilt. But again, that was just all political theater and pointless. But it's what happened. Little known quote from Satoshi Nakamoto, I ain't heard no bell. And I put, again, the world is falling apart and Bitcoin's starting to show resilience when other things are not. I do believe that's happening. We're down just a little bit from this post, but it's still a good place. We're right near 68,000, which is a great number. And I think soon we'll be at 69. I told you I was going to get all this working. I'll do that today. This is good news. So I don't know how many of you know this, and we'll get to more stock stuff in a second here. It's still early. It's only 7:05. I want to talk more about Cuba and Iran here too. But the Iranian women's football team, originally they were not saluting, and they got threatened and told that they were going to murder them and torture them and kill their families and all this stuff. So they are still in Australia. They have not come back yet, and I don't know. They might be getting political asylum there because, again, they had to do this saluting thing afterwards because they were told that they would be murdered because they didn't sing their national anthem and they didn't do a salute. And so the government wants to murder them. I know this is true because I'm a white man with 100,000 plus people on X. 90% of hate speech being targeted for Facebook in this study was against white men. Isn't that amazing? I guess when the algorithms like Anthropic are set to promote the Middle East and to reduce and pick different answers than, a white man from America represents, it kind of makes sense. So when you code it that way, it kind of makes sense. And again, another tofu dreg building, guys, in China, where they can literally look how high up they are. They can, with a hammer, just take apart the trim work, and that's what they're doing. The trim work is literally falling down and killing people, so they're starting to take it off. And that's just the way things work in China. I did want to point out that we're right now dealing with jihad and a religious war because just in the last few days, guys, Muslims shoot up a Texas bar. Again, he had an Allah shirt on and was saying Allah Akbar. We had Muslim lights Molotov's cocktails and throws them at Christians in New York City. The Muslims threw a nail bomb. They call it the Mother of Satan. That's the nail bomb that they threw at a bunch of protesters in New York City just yesterday. They threatened to bomb this. I believe this guy was Pakistani. There's a video showing him literally saying he has a bomb and yelling Allah Akbar on the plane. And that's just this week. Oh, and we found 2 more bombs in New York City, potentially. I don't know what they ended up finding, but they thought there were 2 more bombs. So, yeah, it kind of feels like this is what's happening. It kind of feels like having a mayor of New York City who has a wife who celebrated the deaths of Jewish children and women kind of gives bad signs. And yes, we are stirring the hornet's nest with our war against Iran. Both of those things can be true. Talk about political self-sabotage. Jesse Jackson's funeral. We had 3 presidents, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and the guy who barely stands up anymore, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris, talk for 3 hours a bunch of political bullshit after Jesse Jackson's son said, please, my father didn't represent the Democrats or the Republicans. He represented black people. And please don't make his funeral political. This is what Jesse Jackson's son had to say, thanking the Democrats who are sitting in the audience right now. Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, Kamala Harris. This is the thank you he had to give to them.
Yesterday, I listened for several hours of 3 United States presidents
And I guess
who do
this
not
is the
know
next
Jesse
day.
Jackson. He maintained a tense relationship with the political order, not because the presidents were white or black, but the demands of our message, the demands of speaking for the least of these, those who were disinherited, the damned, the dispossessed, the disrespected, demanded not Democratic or Republican solutions, but demanded a consistent, prophetic voice that at no point in time ever sold us out as a people. And it speaks volumes about who the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
You also know who a good friend of Reverend Jesse Jackson was? Donald Trump, which is the irony of these dipshits spending 3 hours shitting on Trump without directly saying his name, when he was a good friend to Jesse Jackson and he stood by him when others would not. If you guys could hit the like button, I agree with that, Stoney. I have Islamophobia too. You know what? You know where it comes from? Them blowing fucking people up. Crazy, I know. NVIDIA-backed company just announced it's going to mine Bitcoin in space for the first time ever in history. I think StarCloud actually already has AI data centers in space too. They're testing the technology, and it's working really, really good in space. So again, the stuff that everybody's saying to Elon that he's not capable of doing with space data centers, and that they're not going to happen. What did Sam dumbass Altman have to say about that? That it's something that was going to take decades or some shit, just because he doesn't have a space company and can't do anything. I don't think that's true. I'm betting on Elon Musk. I voted for this, so this is great. I want you to hear this. This is Trump yesterday.
We will have gotten rid of a major cancer on the face of the earth. We will have taken out a cancer. You know, don't forget October 7th. Don't forget all of the things that have happened over the years. All
the bombings. Do your history and understand why we're at war with Iran and why there's American interest in it. The fact that they chant death to America all the time is maybe a good reason to have them not exist. The fact that they were involved with funding and encouraging September 11th is not a good thing. The fact that they hijacked planes is not a good fucking thing. The fact that they killed so many American soldiers through bombings is not a good thing. In one building, I think there were 300 plus that died one year.
Caused by these people. So what we're doing is a great thing, not only for our country and not only for Israel, not only for the Middle East, but for the world. And we will have gotten rid of.
And he's right. The new look of Tesla, I love it. I can't wait to get one of these cybercabs. We've got a very massive push on the Save America Act. And I think, guys, I'm hearing Reconciliation 2.0. To be clear, that takes a simple minority. Talking about minority. Anyway, it takes a simple majority. And if they're able to pass the bulk of the Save America Act of what's in it with a reconciliation bill, it's a 51 vote. It can get done. That's how we did the big, beautiful bill. I could see that happening again. But Scott Pressler is pushing hard. A lot of people are pushing hard to get John Thune to do something and do his part. I wanted to point this out. This is a bunch of Waymos. Futuraza was showing this. Look at this thing. It's over the line right next to a fucking train. Scary. This is Cuba. As you can see, they were attacking a government building. I don't know if it was the mayor's place or what, but here's the next day. Somebody probably died there. I said Cuba will fall next, but this is special because it's from January 4th, and it looks like Cuba is going to be the one that falls next. And I was saying this as Venezuela was toppling. So again, I think we're getting close. In Cuba, we have long live President Trump, down with the dictatorship, homeland and life, free Cuba now. And again, this is Cuba. You can imagine every night being in darkness, having no electricity, having no gas to get anywhere, struggling to survive. That's what they're dealing with. Kirby Tex, Shamas said he will own a fleet of cybercabs. I think that's a horrible idea. Cybercabs are going to be like Bitcoin mining. Everybody's going to buy them. Everybody's going to project out their gains. And just like Bitcoin miners, what they're not going to calculate in is how difficult it's going to get on the curve, right? Because when like 5 people in a city of 100,000 have that same idea and buy like 10 fucking cybercabs, and there's 50 cybercabs disrupting Uber and Lyft in a city of 100,000 people, overnight, it's going to be pretty transformational. So I think you'll see a massive adoption of their fleet of cybercabs, but it won't be profitable for all the people that are buying them. That said, though, it is going to be awesome when you can just throw your kid in a fucking cyber cab and send them to school and know that they get there, and maybe even have a robot hanging out with them to make sure that they get to the door safely. There's going to be really cool shit. It's just, if you're going to make your money with Tesla, I think you should do it with the stock. It's not going to be from renting out your cars, even though that could be a great way to maybe pay for it and have some income. The first 6 months might be great. First year might be okay. Second year, probably miserable. Market completely saturated. I put fuck you bears. You'll see how wrong you are soon. And again, this is just our new Karg Island. And this facility is amazing. This is where, again, 90% of processing occurs on this little tiny island. And it's going to be easy for us to take. 18,000 Bitcoin. MicroStrategy just bought 18,000 fucking Bitcoin, and you guys are scared. What? Hit the like button, please. That's amazing. OV Crypto posted this, and I thought it looked really good. It said, Bitcoin forming an inverted hammer on the weekly. He is right. That is what it ended up doing. Just by the hair of the chinny chin chin, it has an inverted hammer on the weekly. It doesn't look as pretty as the one he originally drew, but nonetheless, it is a good sign of a potential reversal pattern. And again, we're just everything, peak volumes, everything from macro to fundamentals of Bitcoin to the technicals of Bitcoin say that it should do good going forward. Again, guys, if you think, just know that the only thing holding Tesla back right now is a high PE ratio. That's it. Okay? It certainly isn't the fucking technology. Let's see how Waymo's doing here as these ladies get ready for this thing to go across the street.
God. I know.
So right here, they're saying, oh, God, is it going to try? Is it going to try and cross this fucking street? Well, yeah, it does. Let's see how that goes.
Holy shit.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh my god! Sorry!
Did you get that already?
Do these sound like people that are coming back? Do they? Do these sound like women that want to do this again? Ever?
Oh my god! Jesus, look! The person's like crying for us!
I'll spoil it. They do end up making it across. But again, do you think they're ever doing a Waymo again? I'm going to say no. And anybody who's ridden in a Tesla, like recently with FSD, the good stuff, hardware 4, you know that this is just never going to happen to you. It's just never going to happen to you. Completely agree with market dilution. Yeah, it's going to happen for sure. Anthony Pompliano, there's so much fear and anxiety circling right now. He actually was on CNBC. I can pull that up if we want. Who are terminally online. That is a dangerous thing. And again, when we're on here all the time, we get a really slanted view of reality. If you spent the last week just going out and hanging out with your family on vacation and you didn't look at social media at all, the world didn't even change. Just remember that. It was probably really chill. They believe that a spike in short-term oil prices will suddenly put inflation at 10% or something. If we learned one thing from 2025, it's that the economy is much more resilient. Actually, I would argue this. A spike in these numbers reduces spending and creates deflation as people worry about slowing economies. But then to offset that, they end up trying to pump them or lower rates. So these things aren't straightforward. You have to understand what all the different chess moves actually equate to. It's very, very important. This one from y'all, WAPO intelligence correspondent, by the way. So this is Josh Rogan. He is a Washington Post correspondent. Said China is the big winner in the Iranian war. The most retarded fucking thing I've ever seen. What does the community note say here? The video is misleading. The footage shows Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. So this dipshit is saying that China's gathering all this intelligence, which they're not, because they can't even get their fucking GPS systems to work when we don't want them to. And they have clocks that are just like turning around in circles. And yes, that stuff is real. You can even see it from a fucking Chinese ship. And so we can discombobulate all these guys. There's this military video. We might find it below. I got to show it to you. It shows how well we dominate. You can watch the play-by-play of what is publicly available for information. And it is frightening how much fucking power we have. Anybody who thinks that America is losing in this war is a moron. Jordy Visser is using UVXY as a hedge. Has to see if he sells sometime today. Oh, is he? Okay. Yeah, let me know. Let me know on X if you see that. Let's listen to PC Egseth talk about the war.
People ask boots on the ground, no boots on the ground, 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, go in. President Trump knows, I know, you don't tell the enemy, you don't tell the press, you don't tell anybody what your limits would be on an operation. We're willing to go as far as we need to in order to be successful.
I love this man so much. This guy is the real life fucking Captain America. And I know the beta cucks hate him. I get that. You don't want to see somebody who can bench like top 1% of men. You don't want to see him leading the military. You want to see some dude in a fucking dress. I get it, but we're crushing it right now. I hope people realize that. No, yeah, we don't need to talk about that. Let's keep going. Here's a guy throwing a bomb. This bomb is called the Mother of Satan. And it's a nail bomb with an interesting chemical composition. Evidently, they didn't do a good job creating it. He does look a little borderline retarded, him and his brother or friend or whatever the fuck he was. But yeah, that's going on. And while all this stuff is happening, guys, we got the Shield of America conference that was meeting in Florida. Again, Bitcoin hitting 68,000 now. If you look in the bottom right corner, it's popping on peak volumes for this year and a little beyond. About 3 months or a quarter worth of data points were popping off that volume. That's a good sign. But yeah, so we got the Shield of America. We've got them talking about drug cartels. We're also, Southcom is blowing up vessels that are narco trafficking. And we're still doing that. That hasn't stopped. We're still deporting people. That hasn't stopped. Again, Tesla Cybertruck. I love this truck. Some people think it's ugly. I think it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I did think it was ugly when I first saw it. And sometimes at the right angle, I can see where she's a little fugly. But this guy gave up his G550 and replaced it with a Tesla Cybertruck and said the only thing that he regretted was not doing it sooner. I think there's some signal in that. Hegseth says Trump will set the terms of Iran's surrender on CBS. People think I love war. I don't love war, but I love war when it's done right to free and liberate people and to push America's agenda across the entirety of the planet. I get that there's been a lot of losers, and that for 50 fucking plus years we've done nothing but suck at war. I get that. I get that the Vietnam War was not great. I get that the Korean War was still kind of a mess, but probably one of our more successful ones since World War II. I get that Iraq and Afghanistan and Libya and everything we've done since was bullshit and sucked. But we don't have that Department of War anymore. That was the Department of Defense. That was a bunch of bitches. And even the Bush administration, did you know some of the rules of engagement in Iraq and Afghanistan limited the fighters from being able to shoot at people that were shooting at them, depending upon any number of things? Like, there was so much stupidity when we were at war during that time frame that held us back, even though we were powerful. And we're not that anymore. We hit, we duck, we weave. We don't tell you what the fuck we're going to do. We tell you what we're going to do in regard to eliminating you and wiping you off the face of the earth. We tell you when you have a fucking month before that happens. And then to the day, multiple times now with Venezuela and Iran, we deliver. That's what fucking happens with this military. Nicholas Gibbs puts the rebound from the sell-off is going to rip so many faces. I agree with that. There were a lot of people shit-talking him in that post too. Ships beginning to move, greater than one, have to re-ramp, hoping for safe passage for all. This is just showing, again, a vessel getting through. Raul Paul had a good post. Santiago had a good post. There's just a bunch of reasons to be bullish. You guys should look at this. This is literally Iran 47 years ago, and I was looking at this because of the irony that's associated with it. The Iranian people fell because a bunch of dumb communist bitches, literal like women, who thought that this Khamenei was, or I'm sorry, I forget his name anymore, but the original Ayatollah was going to save them and from the oppressive king who was nothing by comparison. He had his own version of the CIA. There's some talk about some good and bad. He was a king. I mean, he could just literally end somebody if he wanted to, right? Like, there's not necessarily a perfect person by any means, but they're like, oh, hey, if you follow the Ayatollah, Mamdani, today, he will save you. And all the Islamists and all of the communists followed the Ayatollah into 47 years of oppression. Within a year, he had murdered all the communists that elected him into power. I shouldn't say elected, that's not even the right word, that helped overthrow the king. And the king quit quickly because he wanted to follow the will of the people. He knew that he wasn't going to win, and he didn't want to kill a bunch of innocent people, so he fell quickly. But the communists and the radical Islamists took over. Doesn't that sound like New York City today? Not that it'll be easy, but it sure does sound like it. All right, we already talked about our inverted hammer. Don't care so much about that. We might move to tickers and see what other news events we have. The United States Department of Treasury admits crypto mixers have legitimate privacy uses on public blockchains. That's great. These people are fighting for Israel. This is what I was talking about earlier. Bedouins, Druids, Arab Christians, Muslims. This is Israel. I don't think a lot of Western purple-haired bitches understand that. Saw Adam Beck will buy $800 million of BTC under Treasury. Oh, there's so much of that. Yeah, dude, there's a lot of that. Look at this. Look at Bitcoin right here. This was a really interesting line. I hadn't seen it before. I've always drawn it from here. I've always drawn it from this spot. And I never went back to see what it looked like on indices that had older time frames. But really, if you look here, I mean, this is a perfect line, right? You can see where Bitcoin was really undervalued. Found support, found support, found support, finding support arguably again for the fourth time off of something that was previously resistance. And I mean, really found support here. The back testing before its launch. From a technical level, Bitcoin looks really, really good across all realms. All realms. Doesn't matter what you're looking at. And again, in case you guys want to, this is the guy, right? So some people are like, oh, I don't know if he said Allah Akbar. Oh, you never know. Why isn't the news media talking about this? This happened in America yesterday.
The flag! Going to bomb the flag! Death to America! Death to Trump! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Why isn't that a thing that people are paying attention to? We also have Pakistani vape shops burning down the headquarters of the BBC, I think. You guys tell me if you live in Europe, but this building just fucking went down and got toasted by a Pakistani who had his vapes, cheap Chinese shit going off. I don't even think it was a terrorist thing. Just fucking immigrants with cheap shit because you've turned yourself into a third world country burning down historic buildings. Fucking stupidity, man. I don't understand what people think about immigration right now. I mean, you cannot. People in the 90s, it's just weird. I had so many friends, all different demographic spectrums, different colors, different sexual orientations. Nobody was a trans person. Nobody, not one, not in elementary school, not in junior high, not in high school. And then all of a sudden it turned into like 20% of the population. And also, most of the shit I listened to was rap music. Like, everybody flipped. Like, we were rappers 1 minute. Didn't matter what fucking color of skin you were. And we were grunge people for a while. And we were heavy metal bands for a while. But people just did not give a fuck about race when I was younger. And you didn't hear about it all the time. And if anything, where I lived in the Midwest, people were overly nice to people that were of a different color or ethnicity because they were trying to be welcoming. And how we changed from that environment where you don't have any trans kids and you don't have all this racism into what we've done today, and then a need to allow massive immigration to somehow right wrongs of sins that I never committed. But this is the outcome of all that bullshit. It's fucking hilarious. I never eye gouged someone before, but I feel like it's a situation like that. What is? I'm missing something in chat here. ArcG calls. Oh god, they're probably just getting fucked. Yeah, ArcG calls are not good. ArcG calls are not good. TLT calls are not good. I'm glad I bought 0 fucking calls since October of last year, and why I said I was stepping away from a lot of it. But I still think both of those are going to do all right. It's just you better have 2027 or 2028. Otherwise, no guarantees. BTC weekly line chart of the 100 WMA. Now, this is interesting because if you look at this, it shows the downward trend line from where we consolidate in Bitcoin's history, right? And it shows how close that upward trend line is. Now, previously, again, you get a couple of touch points and then it takes off. We're really riding that. Like we're down way earlier and we're still really close to that line because the line is steeper. So again, I just think we can flip around quicker. The airplane. That makes sense. Yeah, right? People used to not give a shit about a Confederate flag on the General Lee because it wasn't meant to be racist. It was just meant to represent Southerners in the South who might have been racist. Don't get me wrong. I had family in the South. So that same time I'm talking about the Midwest, I had family members in the South. I remember going down. I can't even say some of the shit that I heard there, but I remember going down to my Aunt Mamie's house. And she had this like acreage with these 2 massive fishing ponds and just like a ton of land. And I remember being in there and meeting these people, didn't know them too well. And this black dude comes to the back door, not the front, because evidently that's the door that black people still came through. This is in the 90s, yo. And he wanted to go fishing, and I could tell the vibe from like some of the other family members was not great towards him, but Aunt Mamie wasn't racist. So she's like, yeah, go ahead. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going with that guy. I'm going fishing. But the vibes you got down south, man, there were still some racist. Some of the most racist people are Democrats and Southerners. For sure. That stuff existed even at that time. But it just wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't as hateful and angry as what it is today. It just wasn't. And it was getting better by the day. I just don't know. I don't know how we diverged from that. I really don't. Illegal arrested in Florida for sexually abusing and killing a 3-year-old. He didn't need to be here, and he shouldn't have been. A reminder of October 7th. If you think it's okay to murder people's families and then parade their babies and children around their dead fucking bodies, and celebrate that shit, then I guess you would get along really well with Zohran Mamdani's wife. If his wife has those kind of feelings, if she's okay seeing, bodies of children that have been raped and murdered and celebrates that and actually posts really gross shit about it, what do you think Zohran feels about Jews in New York City, one of the largest population of Jews on the planet? I'm going to guess it's not very good. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on. Do we have anything interesting in oil or any of this other stuff? Oh, the new Ayatollah, who hasn't died as far as I know today, but maybe by the end of the day. He has $100 million house, or I'm sorry, $100 million mansion in Billionaires Row in the UK. So again, it's just interesting how much the UK is embracing terrorist leaders of foreign nations and how it's just okay. Are they going to seize that property? No. They'll probably let them move in. A lot of dead people. All right. I think that's it. I don't think there's much else I want to talk about here. Bitcoin's low. Silver's probably going to roll over. Metals are not a good play right now. I think the defense stocks could be peaking here soon, and I think oil will be too. So if you're just chasing shit and you've you've thrown everything into those things, I think it's going to suck. Oh, you know what? I found out this was fake. This is a fake post. I'm going to delete this real quick. There's about a bunch of Amazon jobs being lost. It's not true. So I was spreading propaganda. My bad. There's 5-hour wait times, guys, on TSA. So if you're going to be flying anytime soon, be prepared to wait for fucking ever because Democrats won't open the government. My dad plays are green on the worst day for markets ever. You know what's interesting? I didn't even talk about this, but on Friday, you know what was up even though TLT was down? And I don't even know if it'll be that way today. But my options contracts for TLT, even though it was down 0.37% on Friday, and it's down 0.23% now, I was up 16% on some of my contracts. That's interesting. To see that divergence where people are hopping into the options on days where it's just getting persecuted again is kind of fascinating to me. I don't know if that'll continue to happen. Let's look at ARKG2. We'll start looking at tickers, guys. If you have anything else you want to talk about in news, throw it up. If you have any questions. Yeah, HIMS is up 53%. That's ridiculous. I feel so bad because so many people bailed from HIMS because it was just miserable. And then now, of all fucking times, this happens and they could have made back 50% of their money. It's just sad. I actually think this looks more like this now if I'm looking at the proper confluence. So I'm just going to adjust this real quick. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes a new story is told by the latest price action. So you have to update stuff. Now, what I wanted to talk about with ARKG is, again, there's this trend line of support that you could just clearly see. We had the overshoot bought down here. Options have not been great on it. If they're shorter term, you've probably been fucked. That's why I'm not buying any options for anything. But again, we're hovering around this 200 moving average, and I like that. This looks like it's trying to find support. And again, we already back tested this line once. Could we do it again and then go up? Yes. I still have faith in ARKG. I don't think it's bad at all. What else do we have? CleanSpark. I haven't looked at CleanSpark recently. Let's just take a look. If you guys have anything else you want to look at, throw it up. Yeah, I don't know. When are they going to get a contract? It's all about getting contracts. It's just whether or not the AI sector falls into favor or not. I do still believe that, I believe in the future. There was a post by Shamath that talked about how a lot of these data centers are building solutions that are off grid. That doesn't happen overnight. Data centers don't get built overnight. Power infrastructure doesn't get built overnight. You don't build a nuclear facility overnight. Those take 3 to 5 years. There's just these things take a long time to spin up. So I still do believe that there's a window over the next year or two for companies like CleanSpark, Cypher, and Iron, and Nebius, and some of these others to do really, really well. I don't know when that starts. It could be starting right now. Again, we're underneath this support line. We've been under it several times over the last month. Can we reestablish support again and start going higher? I think we can. I think that this thing could probably at least do 253% if I'm right about Bitcoin doing well and starting to bounce. Bitcoin's at 68,330 now, guys. That's cool. I think if the narrative around AI does well, which I think it's going to, and these guys that actually have connected power that is accessible and available, that doesn't take 3 years to spin up, you're going to see buyouts at the very least. I'm reluctant, again, to own any options because you could miss the target price of a buyout too. But I think you could see a buyout across many of these companies, and they might give them really favorable terms. Chris, what up, buddy? Good morning, Jesse and family. It's been a minute since I caught a live one. Have you been on vacation a bunch? Is that what you're doing? Central said CleanSpark had an interesting update from the CEO on buying adjacent property to their Georgia property. I didn't know that. Are they looking to? Does this give them more access to data? BGZ said, anybody in chat experience with using Claude and how it compares to Grok? Claude is better probably for programming right now, and it's the one that's got the Claude bot with all the agents, so it's way better from that perspective. If you want, oh shit, you got a hip replacement? I had another friend who just did that too. That is brutal. Hip and knee replacements are brutal. All right, well, I hope you're feeling better, man. You're probably just black and blue as shit right now. Good luck, dude. How long ago was it? Yeah, so I think though that I don't know where I was talking about before the hip replacement thing. I think that all these can do well, but you need to see that. Oh yeah, I'm sure it sucks, dude. I can only imagine the level of suckage with such a thing. What other tickers do you guys want to look at? We got CleanSpark. Oh, Iron. Yeah, we can do Iron. Iron's been beat up a little bit. You got to remember this thing's still a $12.2 billion stock. It's hitting the 200 moving average. I think that's a good place to pop. But if the whole market goes down, it didn't find support over here and got rejected off of it. It could go further. But I do think that the narrative will flip eventually. I think it's probably sooner than later, but we'll see. Cypher looks better. Cypher is arguably better. It's not a $12.2 billion stock. It's a 5.52, so you got a smaller cap. And I know this is the one that Mike Alfred has more money in nowadays than Iron, and there's reasons for that. But again, this one, from a technical perspective, this looks prettier. Even though it is under the volumes, what you really want to see is it get back above this trend line and turn that into support. That'll be great. Colby says Claude can also integrate with Excel and PowerPoint if you use those. Yeah, there's just so many integrations. It's got better tools. Right now, Anthropic is running better tools, but they've set themselves back with fucking with the U.S. government. I don't think that's going to turn out well for them. Guys, I said this earlier. I am really not feeling well. So I'm going to cut this one probably short today. I will get my portfolio updated. Like I said, that'll be available to subs. But since news is pretty light, and I'm sure Amit is running his channel right now, just hop over and hang out with him and say hi for me. But I think today's going to be a good day. It's not going to be nearly as bad as everybody said. I do want to show you a couple things though, real quick here. Again, this is the daily change yesterday. We're going to go to pre-market. It's looking a little lighter red. It's not that bad. And I think, again, I've said this before, I'd rather start a Monday red and then have it turn into an up day. And I think that's what's going to end up happening. I really do. I recently opened a small position in space following Mike Alfred. What do you think about that stock? I don't know enough about it. I can't tell you. I don't really love the space stocks. I think they're more speculative. But yeah, I don't know anything about it. I couldn't talk to it. Get better. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you. RDW? Which one is that? Oh, Redwire. You wanted to do that earlier. I'll do that for you. Give me a sec. I will do that before I go. I think I have that one, but it's been a while. Is it RDW? Oh, maybe I don't. Let's just do a copy. I thought I did. What are we buying today? Honestly, I don't know. I might get more SoFi and some of the other. I've been trying to build up a position. Oh, I probably shouldn't have named it that. I was trying to build up a position in Hood and SoFi, and I'm pretty close to six figures in each. Jesse, before you go, what's your take on all that private credit? Oh, I don't worry about it. I don't think it's a big deal at all. I think that the private credit market is not going to be as good of a market in the future, for sure. I think that could be true. All right, so this company, $1.64 billion. It's missed a few targets. It's missed the last 3 earnings, so you got to take that into effect. It's burning cash. It's near a support zone, but I mean, I don't know this company. Let me just look here real quick. Redwire, to see what their financials look like. I did look at Iron. Iron still looks like it's in a downtrend, but if Bitcoin starts popping, it's probably going to go to because people associate it with it. Oh, I don't know. Let me take this out real quick and see if I can get this to come up. But yeah, so I don't know what the financials look like in Redwire. I'm just going to check real quick. I got to log in to do that. Just 1 second. Oh, I think I'm there. All right, let me bring this back over. Let me go here. Redwire. Love you, Jesse. Have a good one. You too, Kirby. Yeah, so I don't love companies that are generating revenue but can't make money. And so this one has massive share dilution. It has, and again, if there's a purpose for it, if the dilution, it's Aero stock, it's Aero Defense, okay, 30% short interest. This is a beast. Lots of retail in it. Not a lot of insiders. I don't love that. Insiders not having interest is weird to me. Decent amount of institutional, a lot of retail. But I don't like negative cash flows. I don't like negative net income. I like to see profitability. Let's see what the estimates are looking at. So continued growth, trying to get to profitable. But when is that going to happen? So right now it's just in a speculative phase. Is it going to do well? Circle's an interesting one. I should look at that. I should rename this one later too, but whatever. We'll just make a copy for now. Do I have Circle? Let me see. Seems like something I should have. Nope. Gosh, I'm amazed I don't have that one. Circle. I don't remember the ticker off the top of my head. Oh yeah, CRCL. You put it there. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I like just a lot of what they're doing. It looks like they've bounced pretty hard off the bottom. It's $24 billion, though. I got to look at their revenue and stuff because, again, it looks like this one was a good buy bottom of February at $50. It's made it all the way up to, it's doubled since then. So I can see why people are starting to talk about Circle now with it doubling very, very fast. Let me see here real quick. Yeah, I'm sure they did. Oh, yeah, 1,200% profit growth year over year, 80% revenue almost, forward PE of 96, which, again, not a horrible number if you're a profitable company. Cash flow looks like it's okay. A lot of dilution happened last year. Lots of cash, no debt. Net income's positive, making $770 million in revenues, 133 net. What are the estimates? Not too much growth next year. Kind of flat. Now, I don't know if they're just lowballing it and then we'll excel. I don't know enough about the company. I'll probably track it, though, going forward. All right, I'm dying. I'm probably going to head. Jump over to Amit, guys, and check him out. I think everything is fine. I think oil is incredibly overblown. I would not want to be in oil. I would have wanted to be long oil a month ago. I would have wanted to be long metals, precious metals for the last year, but I wouldn't necessarily want to hold a lot of them right now. And I think defense stocks too, albeit they will do well. They could have a little bit of a hiccup if this war goes too quickly, and I think it's going too quickly. So just remember that. And so I'm probably fading oil. I'm fading war and defense stocks right now, and I'm probably thinking fading metals as well. I think all those things are the past. I think the future is going to be a lot of Bitcoin It's going to be tech companies. It's going to be software that's a little overbeaten over the short term. It's going to be hardware. It's going to be tech. It's going to be growth. It's going to be all those things. Once people realize that the war is not that big of a deal. That's my take. I love you guys. I'll see you online. And in the meantime, you can check me on X. Otherwise, I'll see you in a week. Peace out. Bye.